I wanted to do a video on this because I talked about it a little bit over at Tuesday night's main event yesterday, and it seems like it's going the route upon which I anticipated, let's say that. For you guys that aren't on Twitter, Elon Musk, of course, had said a bit about Apple semi-threatening to take it down without reasoning from take Twitter out off of the App Store. Now, my argument had been that would be very stupid of them to do that. Apple, it doesn't matter if you like Apple. It doesn't matter if you feel like it's an inferior project or product. It's completely irrelevant to the fact that it dominates this market that it's in, particularly in phones. Okay? And they understand that. It would have been very stupid for them to, let's say, incentivize somebody that has the capital to then go directly compete with them. And Elon Musk is such a psycho son of a gun that he'd do it, right? He's shown that he'll screw it. I'll make it happen myself. And he'll do it. So why would you invite, or rather not invite, you're incentivizing him to do that if you say, okay, we're going to take Twitter off of the App Store. Then he just says, okay, bet I'm going to make the Tesla phone, whatever. And even if that's an inferior product, it wouldn't matter. You have so many eyes on it, so many people that are willing to ditch their current phones to then go support that phone. And he had already said before that he'd consider doing that if they did it. However, and this is a lesson of markets, really. That's how I'm going to tie this home. So Elon said he pulled up Apple himself. He's talking with the Tim Cook, right, who runs the show over there. And he said, good conversation. Among other things, we resolved the misunderstanding about Twitter potentially being removed from the App Store. Tim was clear that Apple never considered doing so. Now, there is some rules loosely enforced. If you remember the whole Parler thing, that was how they ended up getting taken down from different websites, or rather app stores and all that. It was coordinated, obviously, but that's how it happened, because they have baked into their rules that if you are an application, you can't have this and that existing, or you have to have some sort of formal, let's say, a moderation policy that, again, they don't actually really enforce unless they want to enforce it. That's more so what it is. But it's different with Elon, and this is why I believe that it's worth paying attention to with this whole ordeal. It's certainly a lesson of market. This is the type of money that I would love to get at some point in the industry and of comics and kind of entertainment and stuff. And that's the screw you money, right? The F you money, as some would call it, because you have enough money to say, you know what, I like what it is that I'm doing. But so if you make this difficult or more difficult on me, I will just pay out of pocket to make something else happen. And you don't want me to be your direct competitor, right? Like when you start moving up those chains, the head honchos know who to cross, which is why a lot of them are part of the same cabal anyway. They know who to cross and who not to cross. And, just when it seems like, well, this has to happen, in order for you to operate on that only applies to the peasants, so to speak. When someone that got money like Elon got money, it's like, all right, well, hold up. We don't want to make this guy mad, because what happens if Tesla, even if it's an inferior product that costs more, what happens when, I mean, you can argue they kind of have some of the technology already when you consider that the actual panel throughout the Tesla is a big smartphone, right? So they probably have the technology already ready to go. Yes, there's going to be more that has to go into it from the communication perspective. But if they say, you know what, screw it, we'll do our own thing. Apple has said, and that's the one thing that's been missing in the communication game. There's been people that try to be competitors to these guys, but you got to have not just the wealth, but you got to have that initial boost, right? You got to have that initial intrigue there. And what that would be there. It will make, the money would make itself when you say, okay, here's this guy who, whether you think he's legitimate or not, he has presented himself as an alternative to the general status quo. And people would just be falling over themselves to go support. They couldn't keep those phones. So now Apple has a problem where it's like, oh, snaps, we've invited a competitor, and I don't think they want to do that. And I think that's more of what this is. Even if it's inconsistent in the enforcement, right? Even if it's inconsistent in the enforcement, it doesn't matter. What this is about is the dollar bill, y'all. And these cats is like, hey, Tibbs like, hey, bro, we good. We good, right? They like, yeah, we good. And they dapped up. Try to tell you, that's the type of money I want to get that F you, buddy, man.